Good day, fellow aviators. This is your future captain speaking, Jetta, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to my first podcast. I'm super excited about this kind of newfound adventure that I've discovered. I thought it would be really cool to share podcasts because not all of my followers have Instagram or Facebook to see what I've been up to. But this is just another space that I can go to share my adventure. And I want to keep almost like a little diary, of course, so my future self can look back and remember everything that happened in flight training. So this week, as I've been kind of pondering about my flight training and what's been happening in my life, I just kind of thought of this question that was asked to me in my 7th grade English class, which, if you know my age, 7th grade was quite the distance ago, but that's okay. The one thing that I probably took from junior high was this question: how can I see the world more clearly? Now, some people may be thinking, what in the world, that is crazy. But for me, it really hit home because I was able to really reconsider and think about what my life experiences meant to me. So I'll just kind of share my perspective on that question and my story, because my story, my experiences mean the world and more to me. It all began in my early childhood when I enjoyed swinging on the swing for hours and hours on end. It appeared as if nothing was apparently wrong with me. However, on the other hand, I began to develop an odd bond with the clouds in the sky, counting them, looking at them, or just simply drawing them. Clearly there was something different. It could be simply stated as this: no one had this hobby. It just seems so odd that a youngling had such a bond with the sky. Almost too much. Sure, but no. I mean, there were so many endless opportunities that could occur, but a bond with the sky and the heavens above. The colors, textures, mixtures existed above, mesmerizing my own child eyes. I had no idea as to why this was happening. I could admit one thing for sure. I definitely had my eyes turned toward the sky, and I wasn't coming back to the ground anytime soon. The clouds had already been touched by the tip of my nose. All the time following had passed by so quickly, as if the clock wanted me to get older. Not a day passed by that I didn't look at the sky. Honestly, it seemed like a reality that I longed for. However, I didn't really understand what was waiting ahead of me. I had never believed that it had been for a reason that my eyes were in tune with the sky. My mind was going 1,000 miles per second while trying to focus. Wasn't really getting me anywhere. It appeared that reality was going way too fast in my eyes, which seemed strange at the time because I was super young. Sooner or later, my 12th birthday had come and gone. Before I knew it, my family and I were at the airport, set for a vacation to Hawaii. Everyone's dream place for vacationing was Hawaii, and I can definitely vouch for that. We went to the small island of Kauai, the 4th largest island in the Hawaiian archipelago, which is very beautiful. While the time ticked by, I took the time to notice all of the decorations that had been posted for Christmas: trees, candy canes, and more layered through the airport entrance. Everything just seemed so foreign and scary since it had never been seen before by my own eye, at least that I can remember. A plane's loud jet blast could be heard from inside the luggage check-in. After quite some time checking in our baggage, heading through security, we had finally made it to the terminal. Continuing on, the sheer look of amazement had taken over my face. I was completely scared, even more so amazed, and even happy, all at the same time. A beautiful Boeing 737 had caught my attention, sleek, thin, and shiny. and white, red, and blue. It was like walking into a whole nother world with new things and new people. It felt oddly like home, warm, welcoming, and encouraging. I remember hearing the jet blast from it taxiing away from the gate. A strong odor that smelled like home. This was the first time that coffee had ever smelled good to me, or even made an appearance in my life. Whilst eating lunch, I studied out the windows, watched the people go by, smelled the smells, and listened to the calming jazz music played over the intercom system of the airport. Had this been a new world that I had discovered? Yes. What was this? I do not know. By the time lunch was over, a tiny detail had caught my eye. Men, and very occasionally a woman, dressed in black pants, black shoes, a black coat with yellow stripes running horizontally down the wrists, and finally a white collared button-up shirt with a black tie. Sometimes I'd catch them wearing an odd-shaped hat, but what does this mean? By the time that flight departed, I never had enough time to study anything to get a firm knowledge. The service was excellent with a plentiful amount of cranberry juice, which I enjoyed so very deeply. There was just something so different about this. Whatever it was, it definitely intrigued my soul. That brought me to sunny days on the beach, in the ocean, and on the land. Hawaii was very nice and very pleasant. Many turtles, whales, dolphins were spotted in the water. All of the scenery is very picturesque and will leave anyone speechless. A personal favorite from the trip was taking a boat around the Nepali coast, which I remember so vividly. Humu humu nuku nuku apua'as hid in the rocks and crevices underwater. Hibiscus, plumeria, crotons, and monsteras were around every single corner. Sunsets and sunrises kissed the ocean, creating so many different colors. Colors I wish I could see every day. The saddest moments of my life had been coming home from the islands. This is the hardest thing that every traveler just has to agree with. I don't know about you, but I definitely feel that way every single time. Especially not knowing if it's possible to ever return to that place again. Sometimes it's just too sad. The year following this trip was the longest ever, because it had appeared that the boredom was setting in pretty deeply. Having fun for a week and a half and then coming home to do nothing is just not the funnest thing. I had forgotten about the airport experience until sometime around my 13th birthday. The questions began to flood my memory just as if it was yesterday. By the next trip to Oahu, I gained some sort of a knowledge. Thank you to Google. The same smell filled the air. Freshly brewed coffee with a hint of cinnamon. Planes taxiing to and from the gates, still the same colors, red, white, and blue. The occasional plane covered in a darker blue, marked Southwest, on the side would appear. I still questioned, and I was still being introduced to the sea around me. I definitely knew more things that time than the previous time. With that being said, I knew what a flight attendant was, pilots, what the uniform stripes meant, and what HNL and SLC meant. Aviation is a whole new language that was highly, highly confusing to me at the time, but little did I know it wouldn't be. Among all the crowds in the airport were tiny details that once again appeared, as I had never noticed fully before on previous trips. Wandering to the gate, so mesmerized by the large panes of glass displaying a picturesque apron with large planes, I sat there fully intrigued. Gloss finished paintings of the airports covered the walls. The same uniforms were wandering the walkways, some walking, some running, and some stopping to take a sweet little picture. I still remember every single detail as if it was yesterday. Walking on and walking off the plane felt all too powerful, so meaningful. Every single food item that I had eaten, what it tasted like and smelled like, once again, I felt like I was on a whole nother world that felt like a second home. 30,000 feet was the cruising altitude of that Boeing 767 airplane. Seeing the world from that high made it seem so small, but yet so beautiful. My ears began to feel pain behind them. My head felt like it was on a puff of clouds floating towards heaven. I felt close to heaven, and close to God. The creation of flight is amazing and very nice. Flying is something that I can't quite describe properly as I have lack of words. There is something that is just so indescribable to me about the action of flying. I can also add that the phrase so schön in German really translates and hits home to me in describing aviation. Oahu was definitely very gorgeous as well. Another thing that sparked my interest was attending the Pacific Aviation Museum. Planes parked in the hangar that dated back to World War II. I mean, it was very neat being able to visually see history. This is the moment that sparked vintage aviation into my soul. Stepping a foot in that museum was taking a step back in the past that captivated my soul. At this point, my life began to drastically change, and I was recognizing it super quick. My life would have never been the same from this point on. I've officially found who I am supposed to be. Longing for the future, I once again returned home, to only continue the research. Time went on, and I kept going, never quitting or getting tired. I spent so much time trying to get a good understanding of what and why. There is no simple way of turning back now. Every time a plane had passed by, I would look up. I would never help but wonder where they were going. Planes crossed paths in the sky, creating an X where each contrail intersected. They'd light up pink, orange, or even yellow when the sun went down. Each kissed the clouds as the planes floated on through, creating a photographic painting of the sky above. Completely seduced by the greatness of aviation one day at a time. There was no doubt that something was just different. There was never any words to describe it, like it was just calling me home, yet something so foreign. Dreams are such a bold thing. Amelia Earhart had become my role model. So many things had been brought to pass by this wonderful young woman who was willing to fight for her passion. She never gave up, despite persecutions because she was a woman, still chasing the bird despite being chased by the ravenous wolf. Perspectives had indeed changed. The best thing in the world to someone can soon turn into the worst thing ever. That bird can change into the wolf if you let the other voices get to your soul. Yet Amelia Earhart always focused on the bird and not the wolf, which was the people who did not agree with her choice. There was a time that I had actually attempted to hide from aviation. The grasp of my passion, the living water of my life. I wanted to escape my new passion. It was just not me anymore. I forgot about it. It would be easier for me to just give up rather than keep doing my extensive research. Nothing more seemed too interesting at this point. Everything just seemed to be a twinkle in my eye. I still remember that year, the 1 year, I was wondering what the future might bring for me. My mind was racing 1,000,000 parsecs per second. At least that's what it seemed like. I further ended up searching for answers regarding my life dilemma, but I couldn't stop thinking about aviation and airplanes once again. The planes, they dotted the sky, hinting at the short time that had clocked by. My dream was right in front of me, my destiny, but yet I was so naive at the moment. I was letting time pass, stress pass, when my dream was right in front and right above me. I wanted to be a pilot that would touch the sky and jump on the clouds. I wanted to fly a 737. I knew that I was alone, at least I thought. but it was crazy to think I was pursuing something so unthinkable. It was hard for me to wrap my mind around the concept. I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted this, and I knew I did. What a dream is what I like to call it. Special night skies glisten, and I actually recognized it. The sky is my home, the home that I never realized I had a connection to. The years of 2017, 18, and 19 were filled with so many good things, and I have so many more to come. I would call aviation a passion, a fire that burns deep within the soul, or maybe a deep burgundy rose blooming in the heart. It seems so impossible, maybe even improbable, but the impossible is always possible. Amelia Earhart once said, "The only effective way to do it is to do it." That statement definitely resonated within my soul. And Henry Ford said, "When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it." The pure thought of flying is what got me intrigued with the industry. What is flight to me? Maybe it's just the thought of being a bird, flapping her wings. Maybe it's the concept of flight. It's just something overlooked. There is much more to this journey, and it's just begun. But now I'm in flight school, and I must say it has to be the best moments of my life. Soloing for the first time was sheer excitement. There was something about it that really hooked my heart even more to this awe-inspiring industry. Just recently, I completed my first towered solo, and that was dauntingly amazing. Just a few weeks ago, I was able to complete my first solo cross-country to Delta, Utah. That was my best flight I have ever had. There's nothing it's unimaginable what it feels like to be alone in your airplane. Night flying became a completely different ballgame for me. I really enjoy seeing the night lights 9,500 feet up. And the snow-capped Utah mountains 10,500 feet up on my solo cross countries. I've come a long way since the beginning of this journey, and now I'm here blogging and making videos about this amazing, unimaginable journey, this feat that I'm accomplishing. And I really want to mention all of this, and I want to explain something regarding my solo flight. When I was on my solo flight, I felt so different than what people kept telling me. They said, "You're going to be so scared. You're going to be so alone. You're going to not know what to do. You're going to have anxiety. You're going to panic." But the most amazing thing of all time happened to me on all of my solo flights, as a matter of fact. It was the most prominent on my first one because I don't think I've ever experienced something like this before. The moment that my wheels left the ground, I knew that I was not alone. And I want to make this clear that no one ever walks this earth alone. You're never alone. I'm not alone, which is pretty amazing. And it took flying solo for me to realize that. But my solo cross country, that was amazing. So to tie this all back in to my original question, which was, how can I see the world more clearly? Well, I fly 10,500 feet up, and there's nothing like that. There's nothing. I can see the curvature of the earth. The horizon is beautiful. I can see the mountains, the buildings, we're so small. But I think accomplishing your dreams, setting forth those goals, and accomplishing them will help you see the world more clearly. Focusing on who you are, who you're meant to be, what you want, that wraps the whole present in the gold wrap. Life is so beautiful, and the only way to achieve what you want is to take the chance to make the choice to change. Flying is freedom, and freedom is flight. That is the closest I have ever been to God, is sitting in that cockpit, flying that aircraft 10,500 feet up. And man, I really did see the world more clearly. I saw myself. I saw the world. I saw so many miracles. And the impact that it's had on me has indeed changed my life forever. Anyways, that's the end of my spiel for this week. I hope that you all enjoy this, and please stay tuned for more. I will definitely be doing a lot more of these in the near future. Without further ado, I will see you next time. Goodbye and cheers. Be safe and fly high.